Yo, what's going on, you guys? Your boy Devon Terrell, and welcome to this Help Me Devon Raw tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be showing you how to use your limiter, give you a better understanding of how to use it when it applies to your mastering, and just overall the settings that you should be trying to basically create or craft or shape to get the best sound. Let's get right to it. Okay, so this song is called Rumors. It's one of my own songs on all streaming platforms. I'm going to play you a little bit of the songs just so you can get an idea of what it sounds like. So listen to this right here.
All they do is talk, no conversation. Don't listen to a word that they say. Lie about the truth, girl, that's all they do. And I got tunnel vision on you. Don't listen to the rumors, 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 rumors. Nobody likes the truth, truth.
Okay, cool. Now, if you look closely on my gain reduction as far as the limiter is concerned, you can see that it's not even hitting the limiter yet. Now, I'm going to take you to a part where it's hitting the limiter. Listen closely.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah. You like them blue checks, girl, that verification. Heard with them dudes that you do all the taking. But I see it's all lies, yeah. Lately you've been blowing my mind.
Cool. So you hear a song that's called Rumors. Now, there are some things that I want you to pay attention to. First thing I'm going to teach you about is this gain reduction meter. Better yet, I'll explain to you what a limiter is doing. When you are limiting a song, what's happening is you're setting a certain threshold for your song and you're chopping off the peaks. So this is what makes it safe to play on other systems, etc. It's just pretty much telling your music, or you're telling the song to stop right here. Do not pass 0 on any of these meters, and it's just chopping off whatever comes in. So when I'm chopping it off and you see it saying -3, it's telling me that it's chopping off about 3 dB of headroom to make it hit that 0. So 3 dB is being chopped off in order for it to hit that 0. And that's basically what is happening right here. Something important I want you to understand. If you look over here, right here with this gain reduction meter, and I'll play it for you one more time, listen closely.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah.
If you look closely at that meter, you'll notice that it's only engaging and working when the kick or the snare hits. And those two things are what I'm basically primarily looking to chop off when it comes to my limiter. I don't really want anything else to get caught into the limiter. I don't want the limiter to work that hard. So what this is going to do is this is going to give me the most or the best dynamics. What are dynamics? The dynamics is the difference between the quietest sound and the loudest sound. Now, when you master, or better yet, when you limit, what's happening is this. You're basically bringing the loudest sound and the quietest sound closer together. Now, when you squash the heck out of your audio, you're getting this, and that's a brick. And now the difference between the quietest sound and the loudest sound isn't really that significant, and it kind of makes the music sound lifeless and dead. So what you're trying to accomplish with this limiter is you're trying to create a smaller difference between the quietest sound and the loudest sound, but at the same time, you're trying to get it to a place where it's still dynamic and still sounds natural and good. This is what I'm doing. Stay with me. Okay, so for this particular song, you can see right here, there's 3 different settings that we always have to pay attention to. Matter of fact, I'll make it 4. First one is this knob right here that I'm pretty sure a lot of you are probably familiar with. This is the threshold knob or button or whatever, slider or whatever you want to call it for this particular one. And I have it at +6. What this means is that I am literally boosting +6 to hit that 0 dB range, and when it hits that 0 dB, when I hit the +6, it's chopping off 3. Okay, so look at this closely.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah. You like.
Cool. So I boosted the song +6 dB, and it chopped off 3 dB to give me that gain reduction on the song. Now, this varies from limiter to limiter, but basically, when you're bringing down that limiter, you're basically bringing it down, say, all right, as whatever you set that threshold to is like when you want the limiter to actually engage. So for this, it works a little different. You boosting the gain until it hits the 0 mark, and when it hits the 0 mark, it starts to chop it off at that part. So this for this particular song, mine was plus 6, and that gave me negative 3 dB of gain reduction. So, excuse me, 3 dB of gain reduction. For me, I like to go to the place of 3 dB of gain reduction, maybe 4 dB, but anything above that, you start to get really like a real squash sound. I'm not even gonna play it for you because it's gonna sound like crap, but I'm not a fan of like basically limiting that hard. And that's a whole nother story. Next thing I'm gonna bring you over to is the attack. Basically, all the attack is on these limiters is you're saying this is how quickly I want the limiter to attack those transients. Transients being the kicks and the snares and all the percussions, because that's what's really being negated when it comes to the limiters, those transients, the kicks and the snares. So the attack, when you set that, basically you're trying to get a ballpark of like where you want it to, how soon and how quick you want those transients to be chopped. So you want to kind of set this a little bit on the slower side off the strength of you want those transients to cut through, because if you put it on the faster side, now you're kind of going to kill the dynamics and kill those transients. Your kick isn't going to be as punchy. Your release isn't, your kick isn't going to be as punchy. It's pretty much just going to squash that whole transient, and it's just going to make it sound a lot smaller and puny. Next thing I'll move on to is the release. Now with the release, I like to typically do for my limiters, I like to put it a little bit on the faster side. Why do I like to put it on the faster side? Because I want the limiter to engage and chop those peaks off, but I want it to let go of the rest of my audio. So this is how I only make sure that the limiter is only limiting that kick and that snare for the most part, or the really loud sounds. So once it engages, it releases. The limiter releases, so it kicks and releases. Look at the meter now that I've told you that, and realize how fast the limiter let goes of the audio. Look close.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah. You like the
You see that? As those kicks and snares are coming in, I have the release set to a place where it's fast enough where it's just releasing and that audio is still shining through. So that audio that's shining through is unlimited, which gives the best dynamics for the song. So this is a rule of thumb that I wish someone taught me a long time ago, is basically get that limiter to a place where it's hitting, but it's only hitting on those transients. So the rest of your audio just sounds unbothered and unscathed. And this has been giving me the best sound, to be honest with you. And that's the release. Last, but certainly not least, is this other setting. And a lot of different limiters have these options where it asks you for the behavior. I believe Waves has one where they have a button that's like automatic release time. I think Ozone, which a lot of you guys use, they have like, it has the level 4 behavior, level 3 behavior, level 2 behavior. All this is, with your limiter is, it's basically setting your limiter to different types of algorithms for different types of songs. And you have to use your ears and choose what you feel, what algorithm fits your song. Stay with me. This is something that you go by case by case. So for this one, I use something right here. You see it says style. I use something that says dynamic. And I like this setting on this limiter in particular because it does just that. It kind of retains those dynamics. I notice my kicks are punchier and all that other stuff sounds a lot better on this. Now, I'll show you two. I'll show you the dynamic and I'll show you the other setting, which is transparent. And I'll show you the difference between the two, and you can kind of see which one you like more. Listen closely. This is dynamic. This is the one I currently use.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah.
Transparent.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah.
Again, dynamic.
I heard you constantly like pay vacations. Yeah. That you be only dating dudes that's famous. Yeah.
So for me, I notice it in the kick and in the vocal. I notice that the vocal sounds a little bit more upfront and the kick actually hits a little bit harder. Now, was it a major difference? Sure, it wasn't. But like I said, when it comes to mastering, you're looking for those little improvements that make the song better. For me, I like the dynamic setting because it just felt better to me. Sometimes when it comes to mixing and mastering, guys, to be honest with you, I go off of how this part makes me feel as opposed to, does this sound better? Because sometimes something can be louder, but it doesn't feel as good as the quieter one. So try to start training yourself to think more like, how does this make me feel? That felt better. You know what I mean? That moment or that impact, that felt better. That's my ideology when it comes to this stuff. And that's why I went with the dynamic. So I hope this tutorial worked well for you. Make sure you subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you follow us at Help Me Devon on Instagram. Ask me tons of questions there. And just let me know if you have any more questions. And it's your boy Devon Terrell. That was a Help Me Devon tutorial. Until next time, guys.